I'm definitely taking the Pixel off my Christmas list. I know, it kind of hurts, but hear me out.
Hey, see I'm missing VVS, don't forget about it. See I'm dripping VVS, they can't forget about it. No, I'm facing on a bitch.
What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon, Lifestyles Defined. Let's talk about the Google Pixel 2 XL, specifically the XL, because there's a lot of, there's a lot of issues going on with this phone right now. And I've been dragged into these conversations recently because the iPhone X, the iPhone 10 recently hit the market. So a lot of people are asking, hey, which one do I get? Where do I go? So I've had to reassess my opinion on the Pixel 2 XL. There's a lot of things about this camera this phone that really, I said camera self-consciously because it has a killer camera. But there's a lot of things about this phone that I feel lends itself to people looking for a reason to hate it. And I want to be very clear, I don't hate it. In fact, if I could, I would buy it and have that pure Android experience. But I feel like I'm much better suited over in the Samsung world right now. But nonetheless, let's start looking at these issues one by one to really see if they're a big deal. First, you've got the blue tint issue, and all this is really is, if you're looking at the display, sort of like Steve Jobs, you're holding it wrong. If you look at the display head on, it's fine. It's perfect. But if you turn it to the side, you turn it up or down a little, you start to see this blue tint. The viewing angle is not the best in the world on this particular panel, and some people are losing their shit. I can't really weigh in on this issue because me personally, I haven't seen it for myself, and I haven't actually seen another display do this to know how annoying it is or if it's something I can live with. But people who have gotten their hands on it are just complaining. Some people are complaining, other people are saying, "Oh, it's not a big deal." But let's put that in the notebook to get at it later. The second issue is the color profile. The color profile is purposefully done by Google, is a lot more flat, a lot less saturated than we're used to, a lot less contrast, a lot less pop in the color. And Google is defending themselves saying, hey, this is what an accurate display looks like because you guys are used to the oversaturation or the over contrast of the Samsung and other manufactured displays. That doesn't make it correct. So they're saying this is supposed to be what an accurate color representation or color reproduction should be like. However, I understand that argument, but I have seen tons and tons of forum posts and tests and scientific tests where people are actually doing the homework to put that to the test, and it turns out that there are some color inaccuracies there. MKBHD did a really good job of explaining the difference between why some apps look fine and others don't, and how it's an OS thing. You should definitely check out his video there. But according to Google, this is something that they can fix. And I think the official spec was when you put the display in vivid mode, it was only a 10% bump in saturation. So I guess they're gonna push out a firmware to really bump it up to maybe 25% and give it that pop that everyone wants. I don't know. There are reports and videos and pictures of burning. And burning is something, as a plasma fan, something that I watch out for a lot. Now, Google is saying that this is not a problem. Google is saying this is just a part of the LED, the OLED technology that's his panel. What pretty much people are complaining for is the back, home, and search buttons on the bottom of the display are being permanently imprinted in the display even when they're not there. So if you were to watch a video, you would see faint markings of those of the UI there, even though in Android 8.1, I think it is, they just updated it to where After 15 seconds or so, you don't touch any of those buttons, they just sort of fade down a little. I thought that was an interesting coincidence because I read about that update before I read about the burn-in, so maybe they knew something was happening there, and this is Google trying to stop that. Nonetheless, I'm not riding out with Google on this one. This is bullshit. I've owned many of OLED displays and phones, and I've never had burn-in on any of them. Nor have I seen any reports of any burn-in on any of those type of displays, or know anyone who has had that happen to them. And I know there's gonna be one dude in the corner, let me show you my picture from 2009, like whatever. I'm not riding out with Google, even if it is technically a thing that can happen on that type of display. For whatever reason, we haven't seen this to any notable amount in any other phone, so there's definitely something going on here. Second is the portrait mode. Now, I gave a lot of praise to Google for their portrait mode because I detest the fact that the new Samsungs and the iPhones, and I detest the fact that they're spending all this money in R&D and putting all this these dual camera setups on the back to do this computational photography, and here's Google doing it with one camera. Like, that's my point. You can do it with one camera. Find a way to do it. We don't need two, which is why, again, I even gave LG praise, because LG's second lens isn't for this silly computational thing. I'm being facetious when I call it silly because it's dope. The portrait mode, it's actually a wider angle lens. I can live with that. Then you've got who is it? Who's got the Leica cameras on? Is it Huawei? No, Huawei doesn't have the Leica. One of these, whoever's got the Leica cameras, they use the second lens to sort of collect monotone colors and make a much more true to life accurate image. I can rock with that. But having another camera sensor on the back just to get a measurement of depth, you could do better. You could definitely do better. And Google showed up with the Pixel 2 and they did better. Now, there are tons of issues where people are saying that it isn't working as advertised, and even though they're selecting a portrait mode, it's really doing a burst mode and yada yada yada. Do I think this is a big deal? No, because it's software. Even when you look at when Apple first launched it, when ACC did it back in the day, it was terrible, and it got better over time. So I'm willing to give Google the benefit of the doubt here, but the issue is there's an update for it that exists somewhere out in the wild. It's not a public update. So for people who bought the Pixel 2, chasing down this particular APK package to fix this issue has not been a good experience. And this is something that I myself noted, because yes, it's not a big issue because it'll get better, they'll patch it, but the way they're patching it is just ludicrous right now, and there are tons of frustrated Pixel 2 owners on the forums just losing their shit. So there's that. Then there's these new reports of the poor audio recording ability, and something about high-pitched frequencies, and it's sounding all out of whack, and there's tons of instances in recorded videos on YouTube where you can actually hear there's something wrong with the way the Pixel 2 XL records audio. There's that. So let's revisit a lot of the downsides. Just one or two things I didn't like about the Pixel XL, the Pixel 2 XL. The lack of wireless charging. I thought that was definitely something that I took note of. Now, I guess we're getting to this point where I sort of require certain things of my flagship. So as of my last phone, right now, currently, my daily driver is a S8 S Plus, S8 Plus, whatever, you know what I'm saying? These names always trip me up. And when I got that phone, to me, I wasn't going to settle on a flagship without the waterproofing. So that was in there. But before that, my one key feature I had to have in my flagship was wireless charging. So for me, this phone is, again, missing a key feature that is 2 generations back to me. There's no wireless charging, okay? Fine. There's no headphone jack. You know, I could almost excuse this, and god damn it, Apple. This is what Apple does. They make these boneheaded, dumbass decisions, and the rest of the industry just follows blindly. Now, whatever, it is what it is. You know, I still use the headphone jack. Maybe I would say 3 or 4 days out of the week. It's something I still use. Am I a big audiophile and am I a audio snob? You gotta use the wire because it's so much better than Bluetooth. No, that's not me. That's not why I'm using it. The headphones I prefer currently are wired. And I also got some wireless that I also use. So it's not a big deal to me, but it's a big deal because I'm still using a wired connection. I'm still using that jack and it's not there. I could understand, okay, you know, outside of the argument of the fact that Samsung hit every single mile marker in a flagship phone, waterproof, wireless charging, and a headphone jack. And I could look at the rest of these clowns and go, well, why the hell couldn't you? But I'm not doing that. I'm saying, okay, we get it. It's going away. Apple's not the only one doing it. Everyone's doing it fine. But Google, let's not forget what Google did, because Google stood up on stage on the last Pixel and specifically poked fun at Apple for not having a headphone jack. They made some scumbag comment and people clapped and I'm just like, okay, you know, that's what you're gonna do. You can't then come out with the next version of your phone without a headphone jack. That makes you look like a jackass in my book. And again, they did some scumbag shit in the reveal of the new Pixel, where they poked forwards. They poked fun at Apple for having different cameras or different features in the different form factor sizes. And again, people laughed and it's just poor form. I'm ranting. There's no headphone jack. And then there's the price. So here's my overall consensus about this. I think the Pixel 2 XL is a dope phone. I think it's a very desirable phone for those who understand it. For those of you, as a Samsung user right now, I'm about 2 or 3 security updates behind. So for those of you who security updates and the newest features, when you see them on stage, you get them. If that's important to you, then this is your home. The Pixel 2 XL is your home. I have no beef with that. If you don't want to deal with Samsung's UI, LG's UI, you want it straight from the horse's mouth, then this is your home. There's nothing wrong with that. To me, the fact that this phone's got these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues, and they're issues to varying degrees, right? Because these issues that we spoke about matters sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the user or who's the potential customer. But 5 of these issues stacked up together is a problem. That's one. There's something wrong with this phone, and I hesitate to recommend it because of that. So we take these 5 annoyances that you really can't ignore because it's 5 of them. You take the lack of a headphone jack, you take the lack of wireless charging, and then you take the price of this thing. Almost $950 you're gonna spend for this. And then you look around it, you survey the market, and you see not only are the competitors at that price point doing better with specs, more features, with less issues, but there's even cases or instances where there's phones for $500 and $600. And I'm talking about the One Plus. If you want them to, if you don't mind them selling your porn browsing habits behind your back, right? That covers a lot, if not more, of what the Pixel 2 covers without the issues. I can't recommend this phone. I just can't. And it sucks because I've never been in a situation where you had to remove Google's #1 offering from the conversation. It's always been iPhone, Nexus, or Pixel, and whatever Samsung's doing. And then there's an LG somewhere in there. And for the real nerdy of you who knows better and you understand tech and you understand the budget and the value for money, you talk about the One Plus. For the fanboys, there's been the Xperias, there's the Huawei's. But always, Google's footnote, whatever they're offering has always been in the conversation. I'm taking that back. I don't think the Pixel 2 XL is ready for war right now. They claim they can fix a lot of this stuff with software, and this remains to be seen, because I know with the original Pixel, there was this terrible issue with this lens flare, and Google swore up and down that they could fix it, and they tried, but it never got resolved. So to me, you know, their credibility is a little shoddy when I hear, no, we can fix that. I don't know. You know, even if you look at the Essential had some camera issues, and I still clown that phone because of the price. And you know, in hindsight, after having this conversation about the Pixel 2 XL, you go back and look at the price of the Essential phone and how rock solid it has become after those last 2 updates. Yeah, add the Essential to the list of a reason why not to buy a Pixel. I think everyone, this is strange territory, everyone is doing it right but Google. Wow. And this is interesting. You know, this was the one, who made this? I don't think, was it Huawei that made this one? Because I know HTC made the regular Pixel, so this is interesting. I don't know how a lot of these things made it past the quality control, but for Pixel 2 owners, there's far too much going on to say you're having a great experience right now. And that's what the Pixel and the Nexus line always was to me. It was about a great experience. I think that's lost at the moment when talking about this device. But I want to know what you guys think. I want you to get in the comments. I know there's some Pixel fanboys on the channel, so they're already typing and they're trying to roast me. It's all good. Let's have a conversation around this. Do you understand what I'm saying when I'm getting at all these little points sort of add up into one big one, or does it still not matter to you? Would you rather go through this than wait for Samsung to release a security update from 5 months ago? I want to know in the comments. If you like the video, like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got plenty more coming. My name is Ramon, and I'm out of here. Peace.
Well, I guess. And the reason we started Lifestyles Defined is because if we weren't on camera arguing about these things, the technologies, the phones, the iPhones, the Androids, the cameras, the games, we'd be on the phone arguing about it. We'd be in each other's houses arguing about it. So why not just put it in front of a camera for everyone to enjoy it the way we do? That's what Lifestyles Defined is all about. We just